And here with us now to continue the conversation is Micah Hanks, creator and co-founder and editor-in-chief of the Debrief, which focuses on science, tech, and defense. You know, Mike, I just had a closing statement to Kelly there that I'm not sure we really want to know what's out there, but do we really want to know what's out there?
Well, some want to know, and of course, as the adage goes, the truth is out there. But really, I think the question is we want to know how much information may have been withheld from Congress and, of course, the American public. And with any luck, these hearings are going to help bring some of this information to public light.
And Michael, when we say that information that may have been withheld, do you believe, or is this what you're also expecting to hear, them explain why they may have withheld this information, that it may have been in the national interest to do so?
Well, we already know from history that there have been instances where the National Security Agency and other agencies have withheld information that was, attempted to be obtained through the Freedom of Information Act request by, civilian agencies in the past. We know from past examples that that's occurred. And so there's precedent for the withholding of information. And of course, there's always the intent to try and protect sensitive means of collecting information, things that are vital to U.S. national security. But really, with the new legislation draft language for which we saw in recent days, the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023, we're now getting close to finally seeing a measure by which some of that information that was previously withheld could finally be conveyed to the American people. And of course, with these hearings coming up later this week.
Michael, you've worked in this space for a while. One of the questions I've often asked myself is, of course, we talk about what may have landed here somewhere in the United States in one of the many multiple miles of desert that we have. But is it possible that UAPs and others have landed in other countries and that information has been shared amongst intelligence officials but has not been made to publics writ large?
It's absolutely possible. And of course, really everything's still on the table. As a director of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick has said in recent days, there are multiple hypotheses, not only about, where UAP may be coming from, but what they may represent. And of course, to what extent these may represent challenges to national security. And I think we need to pay also close attention to the careful wording that Arrow has used, because often people lead with presumptions that, well, it's something that must not be from here. Of course, we've heard a lot of talk about non-human intelligence in recent days, exotic craft. Those also remain on the table. But what we really need right now is we need more information, greater accountability, and we need to find out if information about this has been illegally withheld from Congress, like whistleblower David Grush has said.
And Michael, David Grush may be the most high-profile person to speak publicly on this issue. But of course, you and the work you've done, you've run across others. Why is it that you believe that Grush made this big move? Because in many ways, it can be career-ending, like he's talked about.
That's a very good point. He doesn't stand to gain anything if he is found to have made false statements. And again, that's one of the real key elements here. It's not just the claims that Grush has made. We're also looking at this intelligence community inspector general complaint that he's filed. So the ensuing investigation could very well bring to light new information. And this is why people on all sides of this debate, those who are inclined to be proponents of UAP as well as skeptics, seem to believe that Grush believes that he is telling the truth about the information that he has obtained. And he's also supplied this information, some of it classified, of course, for this investigation. So we've got to wait and see what the outcome of that will be. But again, I think that's one of the most important aspects of this entire situation.
My colleague Brian Enton sat with him extensively and found him to be beyond credible. And I work with Brian, so I definitely take Brian at his word with that. But my question for you, Michael, before I let you go, what do you think the American people should take away from this? Because you've got to know that so many people hear us talk about UAPs and UFOs, and they're like, really? Are you kidding me? This is a serious topic, and you do believe that it's worthy of the attention of the American public.
Absolutely. It's been getting incredible attention since 2017. Of course, as a researcher, I've been following this and reporting on it for much longer than that. But I think that a lot of people are seeing in that great tradition of where there's smoke, there's fire. There have been so many statements made by people in the past. There's been so much information, documents released publicly about military operations that have also looked into this issue. I think it is indeed time for the American people finally to find out to what extent the DOD and maybe other governments around the world have been involved with this, but especially the United States government, and also to find out really what this could all mean for science and really just humankind in general.
Tell us what you know and let us decide for ourselves. Don't keep it from us is what you're saying there. Micah Hanks, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.